Ever wonder why you choose one coffee over another, or why some advice just feels right? What if I told you your brain is making those calls long before you even realize it? We're diving deep into the hidden forces that secretly shape your everyday decisions, revealing the invisible biases influencing everything you do. Think about the last snap judgment you made. Was it truly your independent thought, or was something else pulling the strings? In this video, we'll expose the subtle, often unconscious biases that are silently guiding your choices every single day. Prepare to finally understand the secret architecture of your own mind. Your daily decisions are not entirely your own. That's a bold claim, right? But the truth is, your subconscious mind is a powerful puppet master, influencing everything from what you buy to who you trust. Join us as we pull back the curtain on these hidden biases, giving you a profound new understanding of how your own mind truly works. Every single day, you make thousands of choices: what to eat, who to trust, which opportunities to chase, and which to let pass by. But here's the thing. Many of those decisions were never truly yours. Lurking in the background of your mind are invisible strings, subconscious biases. And no, they're not just about prejudice or stereotypes. They're subtle mental shortcuts, quick judgments your brain makes to save time and energy. These shortcuts often feel harmless until you realize they shape almost everything. The careers we pursue, the people we form relationships with, even the risks we take or avoid. In this series, we'll peel back the layers of the mind to see how these invisible forces guide and sometimes limit our lives, without us even noticing. But where do these hidden patterns come from? And more importantly, if they've been running your life without your permission, can you ever take back control? Let's find out. From the moment you take your first breath, your brain starts collecting data. Every sound, every face, every reaction, it all gets filed away in a vast mental library. But here's the catch: your mind doesn't store each experience like a perfect photograph. Instead, it looks for patterns, repetition, clues about how the world works, and over time, these patterns become the mental shortcuts we call subconscious biases. In our evolutionary past, these shortcuts kept us alive, instantly spotting danger, choosing safety without hesitation. But in today's complex world, the same quick judgments can mislead us, shaping who we hire, who we befriend, even who we fall in love with. Some of these biases are inherited from our culture. Others are built from personal experiences, moments that burned deep into memory, whether we realize it or not. And while these biases feel automatic, they're not unchangeable. The question is, how do you spot something that hides in plain sight? In the next chapter, we'll explore the everyday signs that reveal when your subconscious is quietly pulling the strings. Your subconscious is like a quiet stage manager, arranging your thoughts and actions while you take center stage. And most of the time, you don't even realize it's there. So how do you see the invisible strings? Start by paying attention to the speed of your decisions. If your mind jumps to an answer before you've fully thought it through, that's your bias at work. Ask yourself, why did I choose that? Why does this person feel trustworthy? Why do I like this idea more than that one? You might find the answer has less to do with logic and more to do with your brain's old shortcuts. Here's a quick exercise. Picture a scientist. What do they look like? Are they young or old, male or female? Whatever image came to mind first. That's your subconscious revealing its hand. Recognizing these moments isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. Because once you notice the patterns, you have the power to question them, and maybe even rewrite them. And that's where things get exciting. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to break free from the biases that limit your potential, and use that mental energy to open new doors in your career, relationships, and life. The moment you spot a subconscious bias, you've already taken the first step toward freedom. Now, it's time to rewire the patterns that have been shaping your choices without permission. Think of your mind like a well-worn path. Biases are the grooves you've walked 1,000 times. To change them, you don't have to erase the old path, you just have to create a new one, step by step. Start with micro-challenges, choose the unfamiliar, listen before reacting. Swap assumptions for curiosity. These small acts interrupt your brain's autopilot, forcing it to process fresh information. Science calls this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based on new experiences. Every time you question a snap judgment, you're building a new mental connection and weakening the old one. Over time, these new patterns give you more than freedom from bias, they give you choice, real choice, the kind that can reshape your career path, transform relationships, and open doors you didn't even know existed. Let's start with one of the most powerful and sneakiest subconscious biases, confirmation bias. It's your brain's natural tendency to search for, remember, and favor information that supports what you already believe, while ignoring anything that challenges it. It feels safe, it feels right, but it's not always the truth. The mind loves to be right more than it loves to be accurate. This bias shows up everywhere. In politics, where people follow only news that reinforces their side. In relationships, where we overlook red flags because they clash with the image we've built. Even in science, where researchers may unintentionally interpret results to fit their hypothesis. Confirmation bias keeps us comfortable, but it can also keep us stuck. It narrows our vision, limits creativity, and shuts the door on growth. But here's the good news. Once you spot it, you can challenge it. And that's where transformation begins, by stepping outside your mental echo chamber to see the world as it truly is. Imagine you walk into a store and see a jacket priced at $500. Moments later, you spot another one for $250. Suddenly, the second jacket feels like a bargain, even if $250 is more than you'd normally spend. That's the power of anchoring bias. Anchoring bias happens when your mind clings to the first piece of information it receives, the anchor, and uses it as the baseline for all future decisions, even when it's irrelevant or misleading. This bias doesn't just affect shopping. In salary negotiations, the first number thrown out often sets the tone for the entire discussion. In courtrooms, initial estimates can sway judgments of damages or guilt. Even in dating, that first impression can color everything you think afterward. The danger? Once the anchor is set, your brain works hard to justify decisions around it, sometimes ignoring better options. Breaking free from anchoring means learning to reset the baseline. Pause. Question the first number, the first story, the first impression, because it might be holding you in place more than you think. Why do some fears feel bigger than they really are? Why do rare events seem like they happen all the time? The answer lies in a mental shortcut called the availability heuristic. The availability heuristic is your brain's habit of judging how likely something is based on how easily you can recall examples, not on how often it actually happens. If a story is vivid, emotional, or constantly repeated, it lodges itself in your memory. And when you're making a decision, your brain grabs what's most available in memory, even if it's not the most accurate. This shortcut helped our ancestors survive, remembering the most dangerous encounters kept them safe. But in modern life, it can distort our risk assessment, leading us to fear the wrong things and ignore the real ones. The way forward? Seek out facts before feelings. Ask, is this fear or decision based on real probability, or just the most memorable story in my head? Have you ever met someone and instantly liked them and then assumed they must also be smart, kind, and trustworthy? That's the halo effect at work. Have you ever met someone and instantly liked them and then assumed they must also be smart, kind, and trustworthy? That's the halo effect at work. The halo effect happens when one positive trait like attractiveness, confidence, or charm creates an overall favorable impression, influencing how we judge unrelated qualities. This bias can shape careers, relationships, and even elections. We may vote for the candidate who looks presidential, hire the person with the most confident handshake, or trust a brand simply because its design feels premium. The danger? Positive first impressions can blind us to flaws, risks, or missing information, leading to decisions based more on feeling than fact. Breaking the halo effect starts with asking, if this one trait didn't exist, how would I see the rest? Because clarity often comes when the glow fades, and the truth stands on its own. If the halo effect makes us see everything through the glow of one positive trait, the horn effect does the opposite. One negative detail can cast a shadow over everything else. The horn effect happens when a single flaw, a nervous laugh, a typo, a disagreement triggers a chain reaction in our minds, making us assume other negative qualities that might not even exist. In the workplace, this can lead to unfair performance reviews. In relationships, it can mean cutting people off before really knowing them. And in everyday life, it can stop us from seeing potential simply because of a first misstep. The danger? The horn effect doesn't just limit how we see others, it can limit how others see us. One mistake can become the lens through which all our actions are judged. Overcoming the horn effect starts with pausing before you judge. Ask yourself, am I seeing the whole person, or just the shadow of a single moment? Because every story is bigger than its worst chapter. Ever notice how it's easy to take credit when things go well, but somehow blame the world when they don't? That's called the self-serving bias, a mental shortcut that protects our self-esteem by tipping the scales in our favor. When you ace a project or win a game, your brain says, that's all you. But when things go south, suddenly it's the fault of bad luck, difficult people, or just a rough day. While this bias helps protect your confidence, it can also block growth. If you never own your mistakes, you miss the chance to learn. And if you overcredit yourself, you might underestimate the role others play, or the luck involved. Breaking free means practicing honest reflection, giving yourself credit, but also embracing accountability. Because true growth starts when you see yourself clearly, flaws and all. Now that we've uncovered the invisible strings that pull at our minds from confirmation bias to the self-serving bias, and everything in between, these subconscious biases aren't flaws to be ashamed of, they're natural shortcuts, evolved to help us navigate a complex world. But left unchecked, they can limit our choices and close us off from growth. The true power lies in awareness. When you learn to recognize these patterns in your thoughts and decisions, you take the first step toward freedom. Awareness gives you choice. Choice to pause before reacting, to question your instincts, and to rewrite the stories your mind tells you. The journey to conscious living isn't about perfection. It's about becoming more deeply human, more curious, more compassionate, more awake. Thank you for walking this path with us beyond awareness as we decode the subconscious biases. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and share it with someone you think that might need to hear this. And remember, the strings may be invisible, but your power to untangle them is real.